Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Vixen Voice. Today, I am going to be talking about the controversial yet very important topic of self love. And I say controversial because so many of us struggle with having self love. So instead of beating yourself up about this, but because remember, you can choose to beat yourself up or build yourself up, let's treat it as a skill set that we need to enhance, right? We just need to flex that muscle a little bit more. So, what I'd love to do is we're going to talk about the importance of self love, and then I will walk you through a practice today where we are going to reflect on different areas of our lives, and then we are going to write a love letter to ourselves today and wish ourselves well. And then at the end, we're going to talk about different daily practices that you can do so that you can get the reps in and build your self love and enhance your self love. So before we do that, let's talk about, well, April, why in the world should I love myself? Great question. My great grandmother always told my dad and then us, if you don't love yourself, how can anyone else love you? And I really believe that, and we can cognitively believe that and agree with it, yet to live that out in actuality is a whole different ballgame. I think you would agree with me. I've been doing a daily self love and forgiveness practice for a year and a half now. I think I'm losing track of time. At least a year and a half, right? So I should be pretty good at this by now. And yet earlier this week, I actually had a healing that brought up something where I still had this deep-seated, rooted belief that I was not worthy of love. And honestly, I went through this in 2009 while going through my divorce. I got, my husband had addiction issues, and just at some point I physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually was wiped and could not participate anymore. I was losing myself trying to save him. So we'll talk about rescuing in a whole nother episode. That's a different topic. But, when as I was going through the divorce, and I don't really even feel it was a choice I made to divorce him. I didn't really have a choice. It was save myself or stay in the marriage. So I kind of feel like my hand was forced, but I guess in a way, by saving myself, I chose myself, which is an act of self-love, right? And so when I was going through this extreme pain of leaving and divorcing someone who I thought was the love of my life and who I did love very deeply, and going through all that pain, it was the first time in my life that I really sought help in the manner of therapy, self-work, etc. And I remember I came across this worksheet by Byron Katie. I think it's called Do the Work or The Work. And you take the question and you reverse engineer it, right? To get to what your real pain is. And I realized that my pain was rooted in this belief that he did not love me enough to stop the bad behavior, right? That I wasn't loved enough, and that's why he couldn't overcome his addiction, which of course leads to, am I worthy of love, etc. All these downfall of emotions. And so that was super interesting. And I was seeing a therapist at the time. And I remember him explaining to me that the chemicals in our brain, the addiction chemical is stronger than the chemical for love. So literally it would have physically been impossible for him to love me more than his addiction. So cognitively, I knew all of this. I understood this. I did a lot of work to heal from that. And again, that was a long time ago. I thought I was well past that, totally healed. But I think you've probably heard me before. There are 5 levels of healing. I'm going through spiritual healing training. And so we have the mental, the physical, the emotional, the cellular, and the spiritual. So probably I had cleaned out of most of those levels, but there was still something hiding. So I had a healing earlier this week. And it bubbled up again. What came up was I felt I wasn't worthy of support, which, if you translate, means there was a part of me that didn't feel worthy of love. I mean, we're talking about 14 years later when I've done plenty of work to dig this out and get rid of it. There was something still hiding in there. And in that moment, when I was in that frame, I could not say that I loved myself, even though I say it every single day. It was like a vice grip on my throat. So I cleared that, and now I'm back to practicing. But I guess I'm sharing that to share that this journey of self-love is a tricky one. It's a difficult one. Sometimes, I by no means want to say that I thought I had mastered it, but I thought I was well on the way of my journey. And with all healing and all moving forward, sometimes you move forward, you come back, and then you move forward, right? So I believe when we have a hiccup like this and we're pulled back, then we can shoot forward. So I'm really looking forward to where this takes me. But I just wanted to share that to say, even though I'm here, I'm sharing that I practice self-love and self-forgiveness every day. I've been taught by people to do this. I work with groups together to do this. I'm putting in a lot of the work. I don't think most people put in that much work for self-love, and it's still difficult. So I just want to share that I hear you wherever you are. This is by no means judgment, nor should you judge yourself, but just be aware that self-love is important. And we're going to talk about why, right? And we're going to go through an exercise today where you can allow yourself to love yourself, to write a love letter to yourself. I mean, it's so beautiful. I'm getting tingles. And I hope you feel that way too. And if you don't, what I encourage you to do is still do the exercise, and let's see how you feel on the other end. All right? So why do I think that self-love is so important, and why is it? We are God's greatest creation. And again, if you don't use the term God, if you want to talk about the universe, I believe in God, the universe, the higher power, whatever made you, think about how phenomenal we are as human beings. Again, we can talk about the 5 levels, right? Physically, we're phenomenal creatures. Mentally, we are phenomenal creatures. I mean, at the top of the charts, right? Emotionally, I mean, we are the emotional creatures. That's the beauty of who we humans are, right? And then we have our cellular level, which is phenomenally amazing, including, our energy fields and everything when you think about it. And then, of course, we have the spiritual level. And again, I don't know where you are in your path to spirituality, if you're even on a path, if you believe in anything, but I believe that we can all agree that there's something magical about our being, right? When you just think about your heart, think of all the electricity that goes through your heart to pump, to keep your body moving day in and day out. And it's not plugged into an electrical cord. It's not fed by gasoline. We have this energy dispute. There's maybe solar power. I do think solar power helps us keep running. So I will keep that. But, when you start thinking about our physical body and how it operates, it's not just physical. There's some magic there. There's some specialness. And then there's our spirit, which is just the essence of who we are. And, if you just take some time to really contemplate all these things when you have a quiet moment, then you'll start to see how we really are the greatest creation on earth. And so, a lot of us are passionate about taking care of animals, taking care of the earth, all important pursuits. But why wouldn't we focus that same attention on ourselves as the essence of humanity, right? So I think most of us would fight for humanity in general, our fellow human beings, and put it up there, with everything else. But Can you imagine yourself? I mean, think of humanity as an ocean. You're a drop of that water, right? You cannot be separated from that water. So, I don't know. Maybe just thinking that is just going to show you how magical we are and why it's so important to love ourselves and honor ourselves and show up as we are to do our purpose here on earth. And I also really do think my great grandmother was correct. If we don't love ourselves, can we really love others? We talk about this when we talk about self-care, right? It's hard to give from an empty or a half full cup. Same thing when it comes to love. How much can you really love? Number one, if you're not receiving love, and number two, if you're not loving yourself. So I think this concept of self-love, which is very closely coupled to self-forgiveness, very critical, is so important. And I know many of you are like, well, April, you're a coach helping Gen X female entrepreneurs go from 6 figures to 7 figures. Why are you talking about self-love? So keep in mind that I'm also a spiritual coach and healer. But again, that's, separate. And sometimes I work with my clients in that if they want that. Or I separately work with people in the spiritual realm. But I feel that self-love is the epitome of self-care. And I think that we would all agree, again, at least on a cognitive level, we can understand that taking care of ourselves helps us show up better for business, for our families, for our communities, and for ourselves. And really, self-care is there to take care of yourself so that you can love yourself, right? So if we talk about the entrepreneurial roller coaster, if we talk about the roller coaster of life, I think that the more enhanced your self-love is, the more you're giving to this life, right? The better you're living your life, the more enjoyment you feel. And just fulfilling your purpose on earth and fulfilling your purpose to others and yourself. So that is my take on why I think self-love is so important and why it's one of the pillars of the Vixen Gathering and the Vixen Mastermind that we work with our entrepreneurial clients on. And again, I love doing these episodes because who knows who's being impacted right now. I don't know who you are listening. I would love to hear from you. Please leave us a comment. Please DM us. Please shoot us an email to team@vixengathering.com. I would love to hear who you are and what you're doing in your life, what's important to you. And today what I'd love to ask is, why do you think self-love is important? So again, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's awesome. You can share your comments below, or you can connect with us any of those other ways and just share. Let's have a conversation. Why should we love ourselves, right? Maybe you think we shouldn't. I'd love to hear that as well. I don't think we really have a good conversation unless we hear from all perspectives. So today we're going to be talking about self-love, and recently shame has come up with a lot of my clients. And, I talked about this when I was chatting about personal core values or Vixen vital values. I also talked about shame in my interview with Michaela Alexis. It came up, and it came up with 2 of my clients this week, and then it came up with my chat with Michaela. And when I come across women or people I care about, they can be clients, they can be friends. I mean, it doesn't have to be a woman, a man as well. When I encounter another human being who is experiencing shame, it breaks my heart because it's the opposite of self-love, right? So I think that the more we increase our self-love, we're filling ourselves up, we're filling our energy field, we're expanding out, we are pushing away that shame, we are pushing away the negative emotions, we're pushing away the thoughts and opinions of others that might be negative. So you can see how all of this would be critical to being successful in business and being successful in life, and just having a good time and enjoying it while you're here on earth. So we're going to kind of dig in today. First of all, what I'd love to ask is, again, unless you're driving or doing something where you cannot close your eyes, just take a moment, sit back. If you're watching me on YouTube, you'll see me do this. Just kind of sit back, Close your eyes, and you want to make sure your feet are straight on the ground, flat on the ground, excuse me. And, you don't have to be perfectly straight. I know a lot of people think that for meditation or connection, but more what I want is I want your back to feel supported, where you can just be, where you're not really holding yourself up, you're just being there, letting the chair support you, letting the ground support you, kind of breathing and letting go. You're not in control right now. I know that's hard for many of us, but you're not in control right now. So keep your eyes closed, because when you open them, you break the flow. Thoughts start invading, all kinds of things happen. So sit here, and if you've listened to me before, you've probably discovered how you get to your soft place. So maybe take some deep breaths. Make sure that breathing goes at least all the way down to your navel. We don't want short, shallow breathing, but very deep breathing. It should take you some time, right? I mean, it takes me a few seconds to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And when I say a few, it's probably 10 or more. So if it's not taking you that long, I'm not sure how deep you're going. So practice your deep breaths. You can do box breathing, where you count for 4 in, hold for 4, count for 4 out, hold for 4, count for 4 in. You get the picture. And, you might need to shrug your shoulders, kind of shake your body, just kind of feel your body and feel where you have tension or discomfort or aches or pains. And what I'd like you to do is just imagine you're releasing all of that. You're releasing your stress, you're releasing your thoughts, you're releasing your anxiety. Just release. And you may need to, a high performance hack is, you could just sit here and say in your head, release, 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 release. What I like to add is, let's release and receive, right? So just imagine the circle of your releasing and receiving. Releasing and receiving. I actually have this meditation. It taught me how to receive, of almost like hula hoops of energy around my body, just this beautiful going out, coming back in, going out, coming back in, or coming in, going out, coming in, going out. So again, you want to release and you want to receive. And just kind of get yourself to a soft, good spot. And by soft, I mean where your body feels soft, there's no tension, nothing going through your mind. Imagine your happy place. Imagine someone or something you love that brings you joy. You might sigh out loud, breathe out. You're going to have some physical release. And when you get to that place, if you need more time, just hit pause and come back to us. When you get to that place, what I want you to ask, you're asking yourself, but you're also asking outside, right? Release your expectations, be open to receiving information. So what you're going to ask is, who do I want to be this year? And that's going to have different meanings for everyone. But who do I want to be this year? It might be, how do I want to show up? What do I want to do? What activities do I want to do? Who do I want to be around? Again, there's no limits. Just ask and see what comes to you. Who do I want to be in 2023? And some of you will get a vision of it. Sit with the vision and watch. Some of you will just get a feeling. Maybe a memory will pop up. I have a very strong sense of smell, so sometimes I smell things that tell me. So, and sometimes you'll hear things. So really just try to pause me, sit there in your soft space, and ask, who do I want to be in 2023? And just wait until the answer comes to you. It won't be confusing, it will be clear. And when it comes, then hit play and come back to us. Awesome. So now that all of us have this beautiful vision, or memory, or thought, or smell, whatever it is, or feeling of who we want to be in 2023, we are going to dive in. So before we get to our love letter, what we want to do is get in touch with you. So you've just done that in this meditation exercise, but some good daily practices or good things to focus on are, number one, having a forgiveness daily practice, right? So this can come in the form of, at the end of the day, I've shared with you guys, I love Brendan Burchard's daily planner. And, one question is, how could I have made today better or shown up better today? Something like that. So maybe it's reflective, just taking ownership of how you would have liked to show up better or done something better, but don't hold on to it. Once you get it, just release it. Okay, lesson learned, right? Maybe it's you reflecting on things or things about things, places, people that bring you shame, right? And letting that go and forgiving yourself for that. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for some behavior that you're not proud of. But I daily, close my eyes, put my hand on my heart. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. And then I repeat, I love myself. So I think those two are pretty clear. Anything else, do what your intuition tells you. I have some other things I say, but they're pretty specific for me. When I work with clients, we try to find what's strong for them. And I've been taught this from my spiritual coach. So, I forgive myself 3 times with eyes closed, hands on your heart. I love myself 3 times, eyes closed, hands on your heart. I know a lot of people like to do this in the mirror looking at themselves. If you do and it works for you, great. I'm not sure how deep that goes. When you close your eyes, you're connected to your heart and you're telling yourself this, you're really over time speaking to your deepest parts, right? Your true self. And so you really want this to sink in, this love on all levels. You want this forgiveness and love to sink in. But again, what I just recommend is do some little daily practice. It could be on your drive home from work if you go to the office, or maybe you're headed to pick the kids up and you just kind of reflect on your day and some things bugging you and just forgive yourself for them, right? So again, we don't want to make the mistake here of going into judgment or self-criticism, right? So our goal is to end judgment. It's not our job to judge ourselves or others, to end entitlement or victim mentality, right? And to end self-criticism, because how can we love ourselves when we're in any of those states, right? And just remember, this is for you, not others. Now, I also believe it's important to forgive others on a daily basis. I do that as well, and I ask forgiveness from God. So again, whatever you believe in. But let's just start here because today is about self-love. So let's practice forgiving ourselves and loving ourselves. And again, this practice is for you, not for other people. All right? And, if you need help, ask. I mean, this would be great. Reach out to us. I'd love to chat with you about this. You can actually go to our website and just set up a 1 hour consultation or coaching call. Actually, it's 50 minutes because high performance habits are that you take a break every 50 minutes. But, you can spend 50 minutes with me and we can chat about this and we can go deep and see what's going on, right? So if you need help, ask, but practice forgiving yourself and loving yourself daily. It's very powerful when you do it. Remember, time compounds all things, so don't expect miracles the first day. So now let's get loving. This is the fun part. Remember that affection is one of my personal core values, if you listen to that episode or have heard me before. So I love when we get to talk about love. Here's what I'd like you to do. Again, if you can, I think this is valuable to close your eyes and imagine these scenarios. You really want to, again, relax, get in your soft space, feet flat on the ground where you're grounded, opening yourself up to receive. So you want to release and receive. And then what I'd like you to do is we're going to go down memory lane. I don't do this often because I prefer to live in the present and look toward the future. But what I want you to do is close your eyes. And first, I want you to imagine yourself as a little baby. The first time I did this was at Tony Robbins' Unleash Your Power Within. And I was bawling. So I'm just going to warn you, make sure you have tissue near. But I just want you to imagine you have this baby in your arms and it's you. That feels good, doesn't it? Just look, how cute is this little baby? How precious is this little baby? Remember, the baby is you. You're holding yourself. What would you do to protect this baby? What do you wish for this baby? What kind of life do you want this child to have? I want you to imagine all of that. And if you have paper handy or your phone to take voice notes, if you want to capture something that comes up, please go for it. But really try to keep your eyes closed as much as you can and stay in that moment, right? And just feel that and feel the love welling up. And again, at any point, if you need to pause, just pause this recording, pause the video, and stay in that moment. You can come back to us whenever you're ready. And then next, what I'd like to invite you to do is imagine one of the happiest times in your childhood. Imagine yourself as a child under the age of 10, right? So my vision that comes to mind is this summer we went to Six Flags in Atlanta, and I got this, it was the 80s, so visors were very cool, and I got this rainbow visor with Six Flags Atlanta, and I remember running around my neighborhood thinking I was the coolest kid on the block with this visor on. But I love that version of me because I was so free and unencumbered, and I didn't care what I looked like. I just wanted to go out and play in the woods and go to my friend's house and swim and have a great time. I was so free. So free and so me, like unapologetically me. So think of a moment, a version of yourself, or a memory that's very fond like that from your childhood, right? And if you can't, that's okay too. I know some people have blocks for different times. That's okay. If you can't, just love yourself. And then let's move to your teenage years, right? Between the age of 10 and 20. What's like a version or a memory of yourself that you just like makes you smile? And again, as we're doing this, just, write down attributes or memories. Just take a voice note, type in your computer or whatever you want. Just think of that version of yourself. Let's call it your teenage version. I always think back to my 18-year-old self and how courageous she was and ready to venture out into the world. I also think I was a lot more smarter back then. We'll have that conversation another time. So, again, and if you have a block again, just love yourself. Just love yourself. And now I want to think of you in your 20s. Some of you may be in your 20s, right? What's your favorite version of yourself at this during this period of your life? And for those of us who are older, think back to your 20s, right? You were just venturing out into the world. So again, capture that moment, that memory. What makes you smile? What makes you giggle? Maybe even what makes you say, oh, this kid. Just like you would do with your own kids, nieces, nephews, anyone else you love. I love this quote. It's from the Wild Woman Sisterhood. You deserve the love you so freely give to others. So let's give that love to ourselves here. Now, I want you to fast forward to last year. I want you to think of a moment, a version, a memory of yourself. What makes you smile? What makes you happy? Again, you might say, oh, this kid. I don't know about you, but I'm just a big kid. I say it all the time. So, again, write down, what are the attributes you admire? What's making you smile? What do you love about this version of yourself? And now I want you to focus on right now. And here's your challenge. Right now, sitting where you are, I want you to grab a sheet of paper again. You can do voice notes, type, whatever you do. I think writing's pretty powerful, so if you can, write. And your challenge is to write 3 things that you love about yourself right now, in this moment. And what I'd love you to do is pause this recording, pause this video, and come back when you have 3 things. I don't care what 3 things they are, but let's write 3 things. Some of you immediately, boom, boom, boom. Some of you might get 1 down. Some of you may be challenged to write the first one. But there are 3 things about yourself that you can acknowledge are pretty fantastic right now in this moment. And then when you have those 3 things, we will move on. So again, we're going to go deeper into our love. What I'd like to do here, and it could be similar to what you just wrote down, but close your eyes, get in your soft space. Again, release and receive, release and receive. Let's see what comes to you, right? It's best if you take your thinking out of this. Here's why. Our thinking tends to be self-critical. How many times a day are you judging and criticizing yourself with this brain up here, right? So try to get to your heart, to a deeper part of yourself. And what I'd like you to do is think of 3 words that describe the best of who I am. Again, this is just 3 words, not 3 things, 3 phrases. 3 words that describe the best of who I am. Are you free? Are you loving? Are you successful? Are you hardworking? Are you funny? I mean, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. 3 words that describe the best of who I am. And then when you have those 3 words, let's record them. And the next question is, what are 3 words? Again, close your eyes and see what comes up. What are 3 words that describe how I engage with and treat others? What are 3 words that describe how I engage with and treat others? So, are you real? Are you loving? Are you compassionate? Again, are you funny? Whatever comes to your mind, there's no rules here. This is just a love letter for yourself. So once you have your 3 words that describe how you engage with and treat others, these are good words, right? Positive words. The last exercise is, again, close your eyes, get soft, release, and receive. What are 3 words that remind me what made me successful? What are 3 words that remind me what made me successful? As I say that word, I can feel it. Some of you thought, but I'm not successful. No self-criticism. There is some part of your life right now where you are winning. Let's focus on that part of your life. And what are 3 words that remind you why you are winning? And again, just get in your soft place. Take your time. You can always pause and come back. And what I'd like you to do now is go back to the past, pick your favorite memory. Was it you as a child, a teenager, a 20-something last year? And I want you to write down 3 wishes for your past self. So what are 3 wishes, blessings, desires you have for that beautiful human being? And when you're done, come back to us, but you can pause and take your time. You can take your time. I wouldn't take too much time, though. Let's see what comes naturally to you. We want this coming from your heart, not from your brain, right? So everyone, when they see a little baby, a little child, we have this moment where we're like, oh, it's so cute. Like, she's so cute. He's so cute. We want that natural reaction, if that makes sense, right? Like, what is that natural reaction? What do you wish for your past self? The next thing is, what are 3 wishes for your present self? So again, this amazing woman, we may have some men listening as well, this amazing human being who is here, present, listening, joining in on this exercise with all of us. What are your 3 wishes, blessings, or desires, however you want to think about it, for your present self? And then I want you to go to your future self. And again, 3 wishes, blessings, or desires for your future self. What do you want for your future self? Right? So just imagine, it's just like someone else that you're wishing them well, but we're doing it to ourselves, right? You can imagine yourself as a third party. What are you wishing for yourself in the future? And as you do this, again, just remember this beautiful quote: you deserve the love you so freely give to others. And so what I'd love you to do is take all of those notes, here's your challenge, go get a beautiful piece of stationery, design something beautiful in the computer. Again, I really encourage you to write. There's a connection to writing, right, to our body. And go get a beautiful piece of stationery or a card or something very beautiful and write a love letter to yourself. Take all of your thoughts, take all of your notes, and just, I love it when you're so free and you're loving, and for the future, I wish X, Y, Z for you. So take all the answers to those questions and put them into a beautiful card or letter or some note to yourself. And I want you to tuck that away, and when you're not having a great day or you're not feeling tons of love, grab it and read it. Even better, go ahead and mail it to yourself so that you get it. Well, these days, who knows when you'll get it, but mail it to yourself so you get this nice little surprise letter, and then tuck it away where you can look at it when you need that little boost of self-love. All right. So again, I would love, love, love to hear the outcomes. Please, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can share below. You can come back in a couple of days or weeks whenever you're feeling the impact of this exercise. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn at Vixen Gathering, or you could go to our website and send us a direct email. And what I really encourage is subscribe. Subscribe to our podcast list so that every week you know when new episodes show up. Today, when you look below in the show notes, you're going to see that there is a self-care checklist. It's a free complimentary resource for you. And if you subscribe, you're going to get this automatic in your inbox every week, right there for you to see. So let us know. What's the outcome? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you have recommendations for daily practices of self-love. So again, find one small thing you can do every day. Is it that you close your eyes and forgive yourself and love yourself? Is it that you give yourself a hug every day? If you do that, I'm going to challenge you to build up to 6 hugs a day, because psychology says that's the number to get, everything going so you're happy. Do you stand in front of the mirror and do affirmations? Do you do some little act of self-care? Whatever it is, do a little deposit every day in your self-love bucket. And in a couple of months, you're not going to recognize yourself, right? You're going to be living a happier, more fulfilled life. You're going to be giving more love to people. You're going to be clearer to follow your purpose, to build your business, take care of your family, whatever's important to you. So again, I'd love to hear with you. If you had an aha from today, you loved something about today's episode, please don't hesitate to share with us. What I'd also love to hear is, are you inspired to change something? And again, I'd love to encourage you to take some action in the next 24 hours. If nothing else, go out and buy that beautiful card or piece of stationery. We want to do something in the next 24 hours to keep this momentum going. All right? And I'd love to hear from you. What daily, not self-care, we want self-care, but what daily self-love acts are you doing for yourself? Can't wait to hear from you, and I can't wait till I talk to you again. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.